Hello everyone, and welcome to the first episode of a new series I wanted to make for the purpose of examining anime dubs and comparing them to their native language, subtitled counterparts. Now, what sparked my interest in making this series can mostly be attributed to the whole subs versus dubs debate that's been raging on ever since Toonami first started bringing Japanese animation to a much larger Western audience. And by the way, don't act like Toonami didn't put us all on the righteous path to the good holy word of big-ass anime tit. Yes. Anyways, where was I? In an effort to more so study the cause of the debate, rather than to provide a definitive answer to the question subs or dubs, I'd like to examine the dub of one of the most important and culturally influential anime of all time, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Now, full disclosure, I am a relatively new fan to the supreme culture that is JoJo's. At the time of writing this, I'm halfway through Stardust Crusaders, but I have become wholly enamored with the whole world of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and I'm along for anything this storied series has waiting for me. But I have made it this far exclusively watching the original Japanese with English subtitles, for the same reason I'm sure I'm not alone on. Memes. It has to be the memes. Oh yeah, the FOMO got me hard on this one. Everywhere I looked on social media, given my circle of friends, I'd see, "Oh, you're approaching me," and "Yada yada dasi," or a "Good bad JoJo," or any other of the endless bout of JoJo memes out there. Here's the thing. From what I've seen, the dub has no memes. The dub is all but not even mentioned, it seems, in my experience at least. Coming from someone who normally prefers dubs to subs, because I'm a dumb baby and reading distracts me from the full experience most of the time, I knew after I'd gotten the quote-unquote true JoJo experience, I had to go back and really take a look at what makes the English dub seemingly so forgettable. So kick back, relax, and if I were you, I would start to emotionally distance yourself from dogs. Now, for the remainder of this video, we're going to be focusing on our two main characters, Jonathan Joestar, Dio Brando, and our two supporting characters, Robert E.O. Speedwagon and William Anthonio Zappelli. Also, the focus of this video will be purely on the voice acting of these characters and not the overall writing or world building of the series. That being said, in order to properly convey context for the scenes we'll be discussing, there will be spoilers ahead. So if you've yet to see JoJo and don't want it spoiled, go watch part 1 and come on back. We good? On with the video. Right off the bat, I have some thoughts on the voices of our two diametrically opposed leads, Jonathan Joestar and Dio Brando. First off, I love Dio's voice in English. I honestly didn't think there was a whole lot better that could be done here. Patrick Seitz did an excellent job getting across a lot of the venom and pure calm, collected tones of pure evil that seeps out of every word that spills out of Dio's wretched face. And I love it. Now, how does he compare to the original performance by Takahito Koyasu? Let's compare them by using none other than the iconic kiss from the first episode. やった!
君、もうジョジョとキスはしたのかい？まだだよな。初めての相手はジョジョではない。このディオだ。くそ、このディオともあろう者がたかが女ごときに。もういい。行こう。
He did it! Have you and JoJo kissed yet? I'll take that as a no. You thought your first kiss would be JoJo, but it was I, Dio! Cool your temper, you damnable fool. She's not worth losing your head over. We're done here. Come on.
Okay, so in my opinion, Takahito's performance is really just too iconic to surpass. I mean, he is Dio, to the point where JoJo fans can't hear him in anything else without thinking of him. His masterful way of conveying this sly, nasty, irredeemable character is nothing short of masterclass voice acting. A fact made clear that it breaches any language barrier to get across that message as he seamlessly transitions from a sniveling, conniving gutter punk to the immortal vampire entity of pure evil he was always destined to be. On the other side of our unreasonably buff coin, we have our main protagonist, Jonathan Joestar, who in this dub is played by Johnny Yong Bosch. Now, Johnny Yong Bosch has been in an obscene amount of shows and has loads of experience voicing both protags and antags alike in shows you might have heard of, like Bleach, Code Geass, Naruto, Persona 4 the animation, Durarara, Akira, Trigun, the list goes on for days. Seriously, he's the Kevin Bacon of anime. Oh, and he was also a goddamn Power Ranger. The question is, does his performance as our goody two-shoes old money protag convey the mood it was intended? Well, yes and no, in a way. Now, to clarify, just because I fancy myself a voice actor does not mean any criticism I levy against anyone in this series by any means should be taken as me saying I could do better. Let me state that right out of the gate, okay? I am a total newbie, and I'm well aware of that. Just felt I needed to make that extremely clear. Johnny Yong Bosch has more talent in his beautifully coiffed hair than I could ever hope to achieve. Now, that being said, I just don't know if I buy him necessarily as this giant wall of certified, all-natural, grade A, grass-fed beef cake that is Jonathan Joestar. Him as a 12-year-old? Cool. Got it. I'm on board. But with the artwork going in such an extreme direction, with our main characters exploding from kid size to super size, holy mother, he's huge! I would expect an equally dramatic shift in voice tone as well. The same could be said of the original Japanese audio also, in which I noticed a slight downshift in the pitch of Jonathan's voice, and even then, I may just be hearing things. You be the judge.
人形を返してやるんだ。なんだお前、エリナの知り合いか。知らない子だが僕には戦う理由がある。僕の丸太のような足蹴りが君の股間を潰す。僕には指4本など失ってもいい理由がある。それは父を守るため、家を守るため。君らとは戦う動機の格が違うんだ。
So for the yes portion of this analysis, I'd need only to show you that Johnny Yong Bosch puts in yet another amazing performance as a protagonist who can do no wrong other than just be too damn good. To no one's surprise, his emotional range is great, his underlying naivete comes through perfectly. Sure, some of the line reads are a little weird, like when Jonathan has his first encounter with Speedwagon and his gang, and he delivers the most polite and gentlemanly threat of testicular obliteration I've ever heard.
Try it then. The moment you pull, my foot will kick out at your groin with all the force of a sledgehammer. I'm willing to see our transaction through.
But I'd more so chalk that up to a casualty of dubbing anime as a whole rather than anything Johnny did wrong. Speaking of our resident holy hell, how did you get away with naming a character that character? There's a lot of those in this show. Like, a lot.
Ooh, boy.
But we'll get there eventually. Anyways, so how is Speedwagon's voice in this dub? Well, if the tone of the video you're watching so far is anything to go off of, I actually really enjoy Speedwagon's voice in this. He's played by Keith Silverstein, who is no stranger to co-starring with Johnny Yong Bosch, and does an excellent job of conveying the energy of this London street thug turned face by Joestar's purity. Although in my view he doesn't quite reach the sheer level of oozing melodrama that the original Japanese actor comes across with. Watch this clip and tell me in the comments if you hear what I hear.
Look alive, Master Joestar. He's trying to lure you in like as not. Right about now you're probably wondering who I am. Allow me to elucidate ya. The name is Robert E.O. Speedwagon. I had a hunch Jonathan's run of trouble might not be done, so I followed him back home.
ジョースターさん、気をつけろ。信じるなよ、そいつの言葉を。誰だって顔してんで、自己紹介させてもらうがよ。俺はおせっかい焼きのスピードワゴン。ロンドンの貧民街からジョースターさんが心配なんでくっついてきた。
I mean, come on, you can't just appear in a dark corridor at the light of a match and not sound like everyone's attention is now required by law to be on you. As if it's your sacred birthright to chew this scenery to pieces. For the remainder of the monologue, both performances are comparable to each other in a way that I don't think necessarily impacts the remainder of the scene. But the first reprised appearance is what I think spells the difference between the dub and the sub, respectively. Melodrama. Love it or hate it, JoJo's is absolutely drenched in it. And for a lot of the same reasons I love some of the dialogue in, say, Metal Gear Solid.
Using science for peace? That's only in anime.
That's enough crying. Pull yourself together.
I mean, come on, that's just magic. These sometimes comedically over-the-top performances found in the original Japanese are just so unique, and something I'm not sure even could be captured when translated. Sometimes characters will just randomly speak bad English in the middle of incredibly tense scenes, and it can't help but make you crack a smile and make you realize this shouldn't be taken too seriously, and you're having a great time just going along for the ride. And did I mention the art? I mean, just look at it. Oh my god! Moving on to our resident, totally not Led Zeppelin stop saying that character, William Anthonio Zappelli is next up to talk about. Played in this dub by Joe Alkman. And, well, there's not really much to say about Zappelli's character in my opinion. He's a Hamon master, and he's been through obvious extensive training to do so, but he simply serves his purpose in the plot by being JoJo's mentor, and teaching him about his latent Hamon abilities he has laying dormant within him, up until his death at the hands of Tarkus, that is, which honestly saved his character for me. It's legitimately an emotional scene that did a lot of work for me enjoying his character more. Having his method of death be revealed to him in his youth, Zappelli marched headlong into Jonathan's fight knowing full well his demise awaits him. It opens the door for his actor to show some chops emotionally, and while not the most gut-wrenching anime death I've ever seen, it still serves the purpose of the plot and keeps you emotionally invested. Oh, I almost forgot about Irina Pendleton. She's a girl. In summary, Bang Zoom Entertainment definitely had a monumental task ahead of them to get this iconic series dubbed. An unenviable task at best, a poor miscalculation at worst. Either way, it was a task that needed to be done. More people need to see JoJo. I mean, seriously, even recommending JoJo to people is a meme unto itself. Although, through everything that stood in their way, I believe they've done an extremely commendable job of dubbing such a unique series so far. But that brings us to the end question. Which is better? The sub or the dub? In this case, I still think the answer is clear. If you're able to, I would highly recommend the original Japanese version with subtitles for this one. There's a certain level of charm to it that just doesn't quite come through in the dub version, in my opinion. Let me explain. In regards to the Japanese version, few shows have been able to make me both laugh at how ridiculous it is and simultaneously make me care about the characters I was just laughing at. From bad English that is simply didn't find its way into the dub for obvious reasons, to that sweet, sweet melodrama that I honestly can't get enough of. I ended up somehow enraptured in the world created by the now legendary Horihiko Araki, all thanks to the masterful performances of the entire Japanese cast. Now, not to knock the dub by any stretch of the imagination, if subtitles weren't your jam, it's well worth watching. It's also worth checking out if maybe the original's melodrama might be too much for you, as it's toned down just a little bit and maybe takes itself a bit more seriously, if that makes any sense. I actually found myself able to appreciate the amazing artwork even more when not having to focus on subtitles, a sentiment I'm sure I'm not alone in sharing. Overall, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is a gem that only comes around once in a lifetime, unlike Dio. And if you haven't seen it yet, what are you doing? Subbed or dubbed, just go watch JoJo. And if you think part 1 might be just a crude Castlevania ripoff, don't worry. JoJo has so much more in store for you. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching the first episode of Anatomy of a Dub. I don't entirely know where the series is going to go from here. I'm just kind of making these on a whim. We'll see where they go. If you made it this long, please consider checking me out on Twitter and checking out my demo on the channel if you want to make some sweet, sweet voice. Nah, that sucks. Shut up, Jeff. You suck. God. Follow me on Twitter at JoffButlerVA. Let's make something awesome together. Peace, guys.